Greetings friends from sunny Cochabamba. I'm here to give you an update on what's happening here in Bolivia, but first on behalf of the staff and the kids of Niños con Valor, I just want to say we're hoping you're all staying safe and healthy and positive during these challenging times. Here in Bolivia we're still living under a pretty strict quarantine. That means that in addition to closing non-essential businesses and moving schools to remote learning setups, there's a lot of restrictions on movement. So adults between the ages of 18 and 65 were able to go out one day a week for 5 hours to buy groceries, medicine, you name it. Outside of that day and outside of that age range, we're not allowed to leave the house. And so that means no going to the park, no walking the dog, anything like that. Seems pretty strict, but it seems to be working at the same time. These mitigation efforts have kept the numbers of cases here in Bolivia relatively low. And even though we've had a little bit of a spike in the last week, it's still, compared to a lot of other countries in the world, doing really well. The problem is the economic impact here is being felt really, really hard by some families. Despite the bonuses and the loans that the government's giving out, there are families here who literally earn their daily bread on a daily basis. And they're feeling genuine hunger pains and desperation right now. And so there's a bit of a push to try to open the country up a little more. We're approaching the end of the current quarantine period, so we're expecting in the next couple days an announcement about extending it, but it's likely that there will be some opening up of some aspects of society just because it's getting really hard for a lot of families to live. As for Niños con Valor, we're doing pretty well. We, along with police and medical professions, because we work with a vulnerable population, we're accepted from those restrictions, and so we can go around town in our van. We're allowed to do pick-up and drop-off services for staff. We're able to buy medicines, food, cleaning supplies as needed, and in the case of any medical emergency, we are able to respond swiftly because we're allowed to move around. Here at the residential home, the kids seem to be taking it pretty well. It is a huge blessing that in December we moved onto this property because there's so much space both indoors and outdoors. It allows us to kind of split the kids up into different groups by age or by grade, and the kids can come out in the afternoons and burn off energy. So it's really great. The routine here has changed a bit since the pre-quarantine days. Basically every day teachers send via WhatsApp the lessons and the homework that all the kids have to work on, and they spend about half a day working on studies on school stuff, and then the rest of the day is for like recreation. The caregivers plan all sorts of fun activities, they do some chores, and as a bit of an incentive and to kind of cheer them on or motivate them during the quarantine confinement time, we got them a Netflix account, and so they're loving that. Yeah. And then on the other side of town, our transition program, our young women there are also doing really well. They're bored, they're definitely bored, they're used to going out, but they are finding ways to distract themselves. Some of them still have a lot of homework. They're cooking, they're baking, and the silver lining is that their schedules are so chaotic and they generally don't overlap a lot. And so this is a time when there's a lot of community being built amongst our 7 young women, so that's great. So yeah, that's the update from Niños con Valor and Bolivia. We want to thank you guys for being interested and continuing to support us, and we want to encourage you to keep praying. Our kids, for example, for their health, we have a lot of kids who have already weakened immune systems, so we want them to stay healthy in this crisis. And for our staff. Our staff have families of their own, so they're anxious as they move about the cities for their families. They're also not really used to having all of the kids here 24/7. Usually the kids go to school or some extracurricular activity, and now they're here all the time. And so just for patience and for peace and for creativity, so they can keep coming up with fun ideas for the kids to do different things. So yeah, that's the update. We're going to show you guys some photos right now of things that we've been doing during the quarantine. Thank you.